What's up, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Should You Summon? I am Shotgun Shogun, and today we're going to be talking about Baiken. The Guilty Gear collab is coming up really soon, and I wanted to go over some of the limited waifus and husbandos that are going to be coming out. Well, actually, this banner only has waifus, so we're going to be talking about Baiken in this episode, how you should gear her, why you should roll for her, and what you do with her, what her role is, artifacts, all of that jazz. So Baiken is an Earth Thief Scorpio, and she is absolutely amazing. I got her the first time around on the Guilty Gear collab, and this time I really do think that she is very amazing. When she first came out, a lot of people were very on the fence about her. Some people still think that she's not that great due to the fact that she kind of relies on bleeds, and bleeds are not very reliable, especially in PvP, due to immunity sets and buffs and stuff like that. So let's take a look at her stats real quick. At level 60, at 6 stars, all awakening, you're going to have 1228 attack. Now this is actually very, very high. There's only 3 other thieves in the game that have a higher. That's the Vildred pair, as well as Blue Kisei. She is on par with Spez and a lot of the other ones at the upper echelons of attack. Now her speed is actually pretty good, 113. It's not like you're not going to be outspeeding Assassin Sid or Kayron, but you are going to be outspeeding quite a few other units. She is very easy to build into speed if you want to use her as an early pusher or something along those lines, but I actually think that she's a lot better as more of a hybrid character, but we'll get into that after this. Now, she does have a higher than normal critical hit chance, making her a lot easier to build. Now, her memory imprint is attack for the entire team. Her self imprint is critical hit chance, which personally I would suggest going into this way. It makes it a lot easier to build your character with very low hit chance and stack just as much attack and as much damage as humanly possible in order to one-shot Banshee, which is what a lot of people use her for. So we're going to go into her skills real quick. Her S1 attacks the enemy repeatedly with a 45% chance to inflict 2 bleeds for 2 turns. A critical hit will reduce the caster's cooldown by 1 turn. Now you can increase the effect chance by another 25% on this. So you are going to be getting a lot of bleeds on this, which is good because it's going to stack up. It's going to help out with your S3. Not only that, but if you're building for attack, the bleeds are going to be doing a lot more damage since bleeds scale off of your attack. The other cool thing, get a double attack. Guess what? If she crits, that's going to reduce her skill cooldowns by 1. You use Dust Devil, and she gets another S1 that's going to reduce her cooldowns by 1. Every time she hits somebody with this, she is going to reduce those cooldowns, meaning that you're going to be able to cycle your S2 and your S3 all the time. It's really, really fast. Now we're going to take a look at her S2 here. This one attacks the enemy with expert swordsmanship with a 55% chance each of inflicting 3 bleed effects for 2 turns. 1 bleed effect ignores effect resist. A critical hit will grant you an extra turn. That means that no matter what, if you hit them with the S2, you're going to get minimum 1 bleed. You can get more bleeds, but you're going to get a minimum of 1 bleed if this goes off. Now you can increase that by another 25%, and since you should be building with 100% crit, you're going to be guaranteed a second turn, and this is how you kind of combo up with her. So this goes into her skill 3. You're going to skill 2 into her skill 3, and this delivers a deadly blow, detonating any bleed effects inflicted upon the enemy at the end of the turn. A critical hit increases the combat readiness of all allies by 15%. Now you can soul burn this to do even more damage, and that's almost 3.5% or 3.5 times the hero attack at soul burn. So it gets really nutty on how much damage it does, and then it detonates all the bleeds that are stacked up. Now you're going to want to max this out for the damage. This is going to give you an extra 10% combat readiness, so that's going to be 25% combat readiness. So a lot of people I have seen, and personally I've ran this as well, you build her really fast but really glass cannony, and what you do is you open up on them, you S2 into S3 on say like a Seaside Belle or something along those lines, and the amount of damage that you're going to do in those 2 hits is most likely going to kill a Seaside Belle. And then you push everybody 25%. So what you can do is you can run Baiken as your opener, you stack a CR pusher like a Rose or something like that second, so that after you kill them, you push your CR pusher forward, and then your CR pusher will push your other 2 forward, and then you finish up everybody else. And if you want to get really fancy on that, you put an Oxlots in the 3rd or 4th position to just push Baiken further forward, and then have even more damage done. So you can do some really, really nutty things with Baiken's skills and her placement. And that's one of the big things that I really do like about Baiken the most, is that she can play multiple roles. You can either just build her for all attack and all crit damage, push her with an Oxlots, delete 2 units immediately out of the gate. You can build her super speedy as your CR pusher to do just a ton of damage and soften up a target or kill a target, and then CR push forward. You can build her kind of in the middle, and that's actually the one that I kind of like the most, because you're going to be pushing forward. Let's say you Oxlot somebody forward, you push kill, and then you come to Baiken. Baiken kills something, pushes forward, it allows you to cycle a little bit faster, especially if your opener is super fast and they're already up there. So there's a lot of things that you can do with Baiken. And personally, like I said, my favorite one is probably that middle hybrids unit. You want to make her a little tanky because her HP is not really good. Her HP and her defense, I mean, that she's got 473 defense, right? I mean, her health isn't bad at 6,266, but that defense is really low. So if she gets hit, she's going to get hit real hard. Thankfully, she's grass, so that kind of helps you out a little bit against things like Seaside Belle in the current landscape. So that's going to help you out a little bit to negate some of that damage, but realistically, it's pretty rough. Thankfully, the high base attack is going to allow you to do a lot more damage and be a little bit more flexible in your gearing. And as such, since she has high attack, base attack, you are going to want to always prioritize percent attack over flat attack, unlike some other thieves who have very low attack stats, and it's a little bit, on the marginal difference between flat main and attack and percent attack main. Now let's talk a little bit about artifacts that you can use. Right up out of the gate, you're going to want to think about RNL, right? So RNL, 20% chance at max to grant an extra turn at the end of the turn. This can only be activated once per turn, right? So this gives you a chance to get literally a whole extra turn, and then you can snowball off of this, so you get another turn, and then this can proc and you can get another turn, and your S2, even though you get an extra turn, can proc this, and then you get an extra turn. You can stack turns up like crazy, and I've done it before, and you do it in Guild Wars and you're just like, holy crap, I just went like 15 times in a row because RNGesus was on my side. So this is a really good one. The only downside is 80% of the time it's not doing anything for you. So that's a little bit of a hit or miss. Now, Torn Sleeve is going to come with the Guilty Gear collab. This is the limited Baiken artifact, and this gives you a chance to inflict bleed for 2 turns after a single attack. This means that on almost every single attack that she does, you can stack another bleed, meaning that, when you do your S3, that's going to bring a lot more damage. You're going to have stacking bleeds. And honestly, I know a lot of people don't like bleeds in the current meta because of cleanse, because of debuff immunity, stuff like that. But especially in RTA, it's a lot easier to manage those things, as you can bring an Alencia to strip and then follow up into a Baiken to stack a bunch of bleeds. And then as long as you're taking care of their cleanser, you are good to go. Now, the problem is you run into characters like a Momo, DJ Basar, things like that. They're going to have a lot of easier time getting rid of your bleeds, but it actually doesn't really matter that much, because sometimes you just do so much damage with Baiken that who cares about bleeds or debuff immunity? They just disappear. Now, one of the artifacts that I actually really, really like running on her is Wind Rider. And you're going to want to run Wind Rider if you're running that like really heavy duty, like damage Baiken that you're going to push forward with an Oxlots, because what you're going to do is you're going to find a squishy target to just kill with your S2. They're just going to die. And then after that, you are going to get an increase of attack, 60% increased attack, if you have this maxed out. So whoever you hit with your S3 is instantly going to die as well. So this is really good if you're comboing up and you want to run that really heavy damaging Baiken to just immediately delete 2 units off of the map. Because like I said, whoever she hits with her S2 after she has the buff from Wind Rider is dead. They're just literally dead, just gone. It's going to be really good. It's very niche artifact. A lot of people haven't leveled it up just because it's not something that is very typically used on a lot of characters. Now, if you don't have RNL, you can use Dust Devil, and Dust Devil is actually somewhat a little bit better because you get a 30% chance instead of a 20% chance, and this is going to attack with your basic skill, and you're going to crit, and you are going to get that skill cooldown. So that is going to be very, very good. Now, this can only be activated once per turn. However, it can be activated on dual attacks, on things like that. I have seen it activated on dual attacks, and it gets pretty nutty sometimes. So if you're wanting to run this because it's a little bit on the cheaper side, and this is actually pretty good as well, because like I said, you can cycle those cooldowns a lot faster. Now, you're going to be wanting to pick up Portrait of Saviors during the Guilty Gear rerun. Absolutely, without a doubt, get multiple copies of these, because this is basically it's literally an upgraded Exorcist Tonfa. So at max, which you should get it maxed as soon as you can, you're going to be doing 20% more damage when the enemy's health is above 50%. So that means that if you use Baiken as an opener, even as a pushed unit to delete things, you are going to be doing 20% more damage, because, well, they're going to be above 50%. So that means that your S2 is going to be doing more damage when you hit the Seaside Bell or the A Momo or whoever. Your S3 is going to be doing more damage when you hit the second target. And the 20% is really, really big here. So that's something that you want to look for. Spend a decent amount of time picking that up. I'm going to put out a PSA that is probably one of the highest priority things. Soul Bad Guy and Portrait of Saviors, 2 of the most priority things that you can get during the Guilty Gear collab. So there you go, guys. That is Baiken. How would I build her? Honestly, I think that you should build her for one of those three positions. If you're going for the full-on damage dealer, you're going to want to run 4-piece attack, 2-piece crit, because she scales better off of attack than she does off of crit damage due to the bleeds. So you will see some people running crazy amounts of crit damage. Personally, I like attack a bit more, just so that if you can get the bleeds off, it detonates the bleeds and it is much, much higher. Although don't skimp on your critical hit damage either. Now, for the really speedy one, obviously you're going to want to run speed, 4-piece speed set, speed boots, and a 2-piece crit. You're going to want to make sure that you get as close to 100% crit as possible on all of these builds, by the way. So typically you're going to want to run 2-piece crit. For the mid-tier one, you're going to probably want to run 4-piece speed, 2-piece crit with attack boots. This way, you are going to have your speed set. You're going to probably get some speed subsets, and you'll still have the attack from your boots, but you can also just run 4-piece attack with speed boots. However you kind of need to however you need to do it there. Now, one of the other big things, and I'm going to finish up with this, is a lot of people will use Baiken as a Banshee one-shotter. And I have Baiken, she's plus 15, and I've been using her actually currently to one-shot Banshee 13. It's actually not too hard. Like I said, with the self imprint for crit, if you have her a couple imprints in there, it is a lot easier to gear her just for massive amounts of damage, get a defense break on Banshee, and she is just going to be instantly deleted. So do I think that you should roll for Baiken? I absolutely do, because a lot of people complain about grass meta. You're also going to have Dizzy. Baiken's going to be really good against Dizzies because, well, she's water, and what are you going to do? You're going to delete a water unit. So Baiken is really solid against Dizzy. Not only that, limited grass waifu, so get yourself a Baiken. Don't listen to anybody. If this is your jam, get her. I think that honestly you'll do your account a very huge solid if you can pick this unit up. So I hope that you guys did enjoy this. If you did, make sure you hit subscribe, smash that bell notification, drop me a like and a comment, and I will be doing more of these for units as they come out and as I get a chance. I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Take it easy, homies. Peace. Cracky.